Hey there, guys. So, I received a question the other day about why do I lift stones? So, for me, the reason I started lifting stones was one, all the fitness equipment over here sold out. So, we were very limited with what we could use for resistance training. Lifting stones has been something that I've always wanted to do. So, this just gave me the perfect opportunity to really capitalize on it and, make use of the best that I had available. I got my rocks at the landscaping place. They were very, very cheap, and they had multiple different sizes, ranging from the ones I got to ones where they need heavy machinery to lift them. So yeah, I was very fortunate in that regard. And I also like the unique challenge that they provide. So unlike a traditional barbell or dumbbell, the weight is perfectly even on them and you've got a handle so you can pick it up and it's really quite comfortable. With natural stone lifting, you do not have that at all. You don't know where the center of gravity is going to be. The shapes are always different when you pick them up off the ground. Again, the center of gravity, if you've got it in the wrong spot, it's either going to roll forward or roll back or fall off to the side. So there's a little bit of problem solving required. But the other one is it really does utilize a lot of your core and lower back and just lifting them up in general. You got to pay attention to form. I try and take, a stance that's sort of, shoulder width or just inside of shoulder width most of the time, unless it's a particularly like big rock, then I got to adjust, how I'm going to lift it. But other than that, I haven't had any real issues with any of the stones that I've picked up. There's also quite a significant history with stone lifting as well. So for me, it's something that's, I'm going to say a little bit of a tie back to history, but it gives you an idea of, what people have done previously. You can look up, different traditions and what they have lifted. So you got a measuring, point in some regard, which, it's quite unique. Anyone can go and pick up stones, unlike, barbells or, other fitness equipment that you might be a bit limited by. So it just allows anyone to pick up the sport or, natural rock lifting is a sport in itself. So yeah, you can practice that. I particularly like it because it's also significantly helped my deadlift, and that's just from strengthening my lower back and just learning how to pick up awkward things. And another question that you guys asked was, have I ever hurt my back while lifting stones? And for me, no, simply because one, I've come to stone lifting from a background in strength training anyway. I've always done, light stiff-legged deadlifts and things like that just to look after the health of my lower back. Because, if you hurt your lower back, I mean, it sucks. You can't walk around, you can't run, you just can't do anything. You hurt a shoulder, yeah, it's not fun, but at least you have two of them. You can, still drive. You just use your other hand, things like that. But if as soon as you hurt your lower back, life is hard. So for me, when lifting stones, I really do pay attention to my technique so that doesn't happen. But also when I pick them up, I sort of squat down, try and keep the hips nice and low, utilize as much leg, drive as possible. Then I sort of put it in my lap, I crouch down again, and I try and get my chin to tuck on top of the stone or keep it as close to my chin as possible. For me, when I then stand up, the stone's underneath my chin or slightly resting on my chest, so it puts me in a pretty good position for when I then need to, press it over the yoke. And in terms of like lifting stones over the yoke, in a lot of traditions, it's just picking the stone up to waist height. I just took it a step further because I like doing a little bit of overhead press work. I found it enjoyable, and it was just a new challenge that I could set for myself without needing to outlay any additional capital. So for me, stone lift from ground to overhead's been great, but there's been plenty of other times where I've just picked up a heavy stone, got it in the squat position and just stood up and tried to keep it at chest height and then back down to the squat position and done reps like that. For me, that just helps, it does definitely work the quads, but thoroughly works the upper back as well because everything's going into an isometric contraction. And depending on where you place your hands and arms, like you're not trying to ever curl the stone up because that's just going to lead to disaster. Biceps, yeah, they might be a relatively strong muscle, but I'm still not going to chance it with a heavy object. So I try and squat down and hug the stone into me and keep it under my chin, so it's in a nice safe position. And then I press it over the yoke. And another thing I'd say, when you go and pick the stone up off the ground, I'm never trying to pull with the arms. I'm viewing my arms more like hooks. So just try and get a hand under either side of the stone. Similar to a deadlift, I pull a little bit of slack to see, okay, where is this stone going to shift? And I just let it settle in my hands and just literally keep my hands as like lifting hooks and let the legs do the majority of the work and try and keep my hips as low as possible while I'm standing up, because I don't really want to overly tax my lower back. Because it's going to get worked regardless, because you're in such an awkward position most of the time that your center of gravity has already shifted forward, which therefore means your lower back is going to have to heavily compensate because it's acting as a giant lever against you. So, like anything, when it comes to lifting rocks, use a little bit of common sense. Don't try and pick up anything that's ridiculously heavy, because it's just going to lead to injury if you're not used to it. And I found I've got really, good conditioning work going in the 8 to 10 rep range as well. So for me, I'm going to continue lifting stones as it's something that I really enjoy. And I'm going to use that in my next comp prep at the start as a big conditioning tool, because it just works everything and I enjoy it, and I can go outside and it's just like, I just have to lift stones today, get all my conditioning work done, and I don't need to muck around with anything else. So if you guys have any further questions on the topic, just comment below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe, and have a great day wherever you are.